President Hakainde Hichilema has impressively maintained momentum on a highly creative foreign policy through his first year as Zambia's leader. Hichilema took office a year ago on August 24, 2021, inheriting a country with a heavily indebted economy and a reputation for fiscal unreliability. He has secured, for the time being, Zambian citizens' support and patience for what he is trying to accomplish, despite the fact that future debt repayment austerity is on the horizon. Hichilema's predecessor, Edgar Lungu, had consistently harassed and, some would argue, persecuted him, portraying him as a perpetual loser destined never to win the presidency after 5 failed previous attempts. Simultaneously, Lungu embarked on an ambitious, but recklessly financed, program of prestige and infrastructure projects, relying heavily on foreign liquidity, particularly from China, as well as commercial borrowings through the issuance of Eurobonds, on which his administration defaulted. Hichilema appears to have managed to reduce China's leverage over the Zambian economy, and he has been strategic in developing independence in movement and in forming a variety of alliances to offset reliance on a single power. In doing so, he has demonstrated regional leadership, demonstrating the benefits of positive neutrality in pursuing policies that cross global geopolitical divides for the sake of national interest. Hichilema has established a new style that distinguishes him not only from his predecessor but also from other regional leaders. He led a small delegation to Glasgow for the COP26 climate conference. This was in stark contrast to the bloated Zimbabwean delegation, which was ineffective in its outreach. Hichilema's track record in previous elections had been one of advocating for green energy, and he played it well. His hard work and bridge building earned him the new man's respect in Zambia. Hichilema was again conspicuous by his serious demeanor at the Commonwealth Summit in Kigali, 20–15 June 2022, and he followed up his courting of the Commonwealth by facilitating an honor for its Secretary-General, Baroness Scotland, who became headwoman of the Lundwe people of the Bwingwa area in Mons on August 7, 2022. But it was the UN vote against Russia's invasion of Ukraine on March 2, 2022, that caused Zambia to break ranks with its neighbors Zimbabwe and South Africa, who had abstained from condemning the invasion. Zambia's signature on the resolution alerted the US to the presence of an unexpected but potentially valuable ally in the heart of Africa. The establishment of a U.S. Office of Security Cooperation in Zambia at the end of April 2022 has alarmed both the Zimbabwean government and South Africa's Julius Malema. So far, no tangible military cooperation appears to have occurred. However, it appears to have prompted China to take steps to bring Zambia on board. It couldn't do it militarily, but because China is owed so much money, it could do it economically. China recognized Zambia's potential pivotal role in the region and sought to protect as much of its investment there as possible while also attempting to offset any potential U.S. foreign policy impact on the country. Hichilema has been wise in courting this approach. In April 2022, a new Chinese Chamber of Commerce in Zambia was launched in Lusaka. On May 31, 2022, President Xi called President Hichilema personally, promising a sympathetic Chinese approach to Zambia's debt. Meanwhile, Sitambiko Muzokotwane, an energetic but measured and experienced finance minister, had begun serious talks with the IMF about a debt relief package. It took some time for the Hichilema administration to determine the extent of Lungu's debt. It turned out to be $31 billion, which is more than 115% of GDP. A third of the $17 billion in external debt was owed to China. The IMF agreed to a credit facility in exchange for suitable reforms, but only if Zambia reached agreements with its creditors. Debt restructuring has made significant progress under the G20's Common Framework, in which all creditors, including China as co-chair, were required to express common agreement on the path forward. Many were hesitant, but it was clear that if China could be persuaded to agree, others would be effectively towed in its wake. The process could set a significant precedent not only for the region, but also for other heavily indebted emerging economies around the world. Hichilema's assertive stance on China has been both grateful for and acknowledging of China's importance to Zambia, but he has not shied away from being critical and questioning when necessary. The agreement between Zambia and Tanzania to refurbish the Tazara rail link but use standard gauge tracks for easier vehicle use on August 2, 2022, attributed some of the line's failures to the original Chinese track design. But almost immediately after, on August 10, 2022, Hichilema unveiled the memorial park for the Chinese workers who died during the Tazara construction. The Chinese ambassador saw this as symbolic and meaningful. The agreement over Tazara with Tanzania also spoke to a regional emphasis in Zambia's external relations and was pointed out in its photo opportunities for Hichilema with a female, Islamic president. China was also given full credit for the Kafue Gorge Lower Power Station's August opening, which will be operational in November 2022. Although the project began under a previous administration, Hichilema saw it through to completion. Zambia will continue to produce more than 80% of its energy through renewable hydro stations, bolstering Hichilema's green credentials. Hichilema has prioritized economic diplomacy, seeking private sector investment and thus shifting Zambian foreign policy's emphasis into the commercial realm. He calls himself the Chief Marketing Officer. This strategy's scope extends far beyond seeking investment from global financial centers, and equal attention has been paid to regional cooperation on infrastructure and trade. For example, in May 2022, Zambia and DRC signed a cooperation agreement for the development of an electric battery value chain. Hichilema's speech at the 2022 Investing in African Mining Indaba also emphasized regional cooperation. Zambia has been embroiled in a series of disputes with international mining corporations such as Vedanta and Glencore, which rely on copper mining. Lungu's attempts to go it alone left a lot to be desired. Hichilema needed to rebuild bridges and, to the greatest extent possible, relationships. A fresh approach to the industry has paid dividends, with significant investment already committed and new exploration underway. In his first year as president of Zambia, Hichilema's foreign relations benefited the country, set a regional precedent, and left a positive impression on the world. The major challenge to maintaining this momentum will be sustaining popular electoral understanding and support once the realities of debt repayment and austerity have set in. Thanks for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories.